حي على الفلاح.
In other words, are you more difficult or severe or intense in terms of being created, or is the sky? Are you tougher to build or the sky? أَأَنْتُمْ أَشَدُّ خَلْقًا أَمِ السَّمَاءِ. When you go to Surah Naba, we found the earth first and the sky second. أَلَمْ نَجْعَلِ الْأَرْضَ مِهَادًا وَالْجِبَالَ أَوْتَادًا وَخَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا. And then afterwards, وَبَنَيْنَا فَوْقَكُمْ سَبْعًا شِدَادًا. There was the earth and then the sky. But we said there's a reversal from Surah Naba in Surah An-Nazi'at. So now the reverse is used. Allah Azza wa Jalla speaks of the sky, and then what's He going to speak of? The earth. He's going to reverse the sequence. Okay. So He says, are you more intense in construction of the sky? Banaha, He built it. Now, bina is to build something where one piece of it meshes into the other. Like a building is called bina because one brick meshes into the other, or one wall meshes into the other. So Allah is illustrating that the sky is a seamless construction where one thing falls into the next. Sama also comes from the words, the original sin, mim, and waw, which actually means whatever lies above you. So don't just think of sama in Arabic as the sky, is everything above. The body, the planets, the stars, the moons, the galaxies, all of it is considered sama. Inshallah, when we get to the passages where we compare the phrase samawat in the Quran with sama, we'll see that difference more clearly. But for now, just know, sama is everything above. Everything else, not just the sky. So is that which is above tougher to create? These galaxies and universes Allah Azza wa Jalla created, is that tougher, or your creation, your puny creation? He constructed that. He put that together seamlessly. رَفَعَ سَمْكَهَا. He elevated its roof. Samk is actually the top of something. For example, sanamun samik is actually used, for the higher, the hoofs of a camel, right? The humps of a camel. The higher one is samik, right? So the highest part of it. Allah says He elevated the highest part of the sky. Now the thing is, in construction, you could tell the building is really tall by looking at the highest point of it. Allah Azza wa Jalla says He elevated the canopy or the roof of the sky to the point where we can't even see it. That's how intense this construction of the sky is. In another place, هَلْ تَرَى مِنْ فُطُورٍ. Do you see any crack, any end to it even? So for us it's an endless thing, and Allah illustrates how endless it is for us by saying He's the one who elevated its roof. رَفَعَ سَمْكَهَا فَسَوَّاهَا. And then He balanced it, straightened it out, leveled it to perfection. Taswiyah actually means all of these things, to balance, to level, to actually mold to perfection. وَأَغْطَشَ لَيْلَهَا. This is actually one of my points of curiosity in the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jalla speaks about the night in many ways. Many different words are used for the darkness of the night. Each one of them has their own connotation. Many of them are concentrated in juz' amma. Many of them are put together in juz' amma. Here we have, for example, وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا عَسْعَسْ. عَسْعَسْ. As'as is referred to when the chokehold of the night, as soon as it starts taking over. Okay, the chokehold of the night, as soon as it starts taking over, and also when the chokehold of the night starts leaving, and the morning gets a chance to breathe. وَالصُّبْحِ إِذَا تَنَفَّسْ. When the morning, as it gets a chance to breathe, take a breath. غَسَقَ وَاللَّيْلِ وَمَا غَسَقَ, for example. وَاللَّيْلِ وَمَا غَسَقَ. This is the dark of the night settling in when the blue of the night is completely gone. There's only black left. That's ghasaq. Then ightash, which is what's used here, وَأَغْطَشَ لَيْلَهَا. This is the darkness of the night, highlighting the difficulty with which one can see. Things become blurry. Things become confused with one another. You can't see if it's two people or one person, right? You can't see if it's a truck or a motorcycle or two motorcycles. You can't tell. So this is when vision becomes blurry. That's what's illustrated in أَغْطَشَ لَيْلَهَا. He made the night exceptionally dark, hard in it for it to be hard for you to see in it. وَأَخْرَجَ ضُحَاهَا. And He brought out of it, that very dark night where you couldn't see anything, duha. Duha is the time of the morning that's the brightest, when it's clearest and easiest to see. So Allah contrasts two things. He made the night so dark you couldn't tell truth from falsehood, figuratively speaking. And then He brought a day where there's absolute clarity, one thing from the other. There's no confusion left. This is actually in between the lines, a reference to Revelation. There was night so bad where you were picking God, this God versus that God, this idol versus that idol. It was all confusing to you people. What's going to happen after we die? Oh, we're not going to come back. Yeah, we will come back. We'll all go to heaven. None of us will go to heaven. There is no heaven. All this confusion. It was like the night. And now, out of that night, He has brought out this clear day. وَأَخْرَجَ ضُحَاهَا. He has brought out the clearest of that day. وَالْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ دَحَاهَا. And the earth thereafter, he made it smooth in its surface. Now, Daha is an interesting word. Some people have tried to give a parallel from the point of view of Islam and science in this ayah. I'm not a big fan personally of Islam and science yet. I'm not convinced entirely. Because I think we have to be true to the language and we shouldn't bend the meaning to fit science in it. If it's there, fine. But we shouldn't twist the meanings and abandon the additional classical meanings and say, it means this, and now the scientific phenomenon clicks with the ayah. Anyway, I will tell you what the classical meaning is. The word daha, actually, dahwa was used for the egg of an ostrich. So dahwa was used for the egg of an ostrich. Udhiyya actually, was used for the place where the ostrich lays its egg. So some have used that to say, Wallahu a'lam, that because there's an implication of something oval or round, and Allah speaks about the earth and how He made it daha, He made it oval or round in shape. That's what the implication some have used. Allahu a'lam, the truth in it. Anyhow, what we do know in the classical sense, daha yadhu dahwun means to smoothen and to spread out. So what Allah is illustrating here is after the earth and its the sky and its magnificent creation, and how Allah made the sky a means of delivering the darkest night where you can't see, and also the brightest morning when you can see everything. Also notice the powerful creation of the earth and how widely it spread. وَالْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ دَحَاهَا. And perhaps this is also a reminder to the kafir who's been listening to the surah, where Allah Azza wa Jal said, فَإِذَا هُمْ بِالسَّاهِرَةِ. They're going to end up in that flat, clear land. Allah said, look, He made the land clear. So when you see clear land, you should remember that land where you're going to be landing eventually anyway. أَخْرَجَ مِنْهَا مَاءَهَا وَمَرْعَاهَا. He drew out from it its water. That's the easy word. Mar'a is a little bit of a difficult word here. Mar'a is actually ism dharf makan. It's a noun used to allude to a place, a space. Ra' is used for pasturing, right? And it's also used for pasture land, like grazing land, like fields and fields of farm and grass and stuff, where you grow produce for animals, for your cattle, and also for yourself. So Allah says basically, first He made the earth flat and smooth and expanded. Then He drew from it water, and also these pasture lands, these places where you can pasture, and these times where you can pasture. وَالْجِبَالَ أَرْسَاهَا. And He created the mountains, and He drew out mountains. And أَرْسَاهَا, irsa in Arabic actually means to put an anchor down on a large ship. That is irsa. So He says He put mountains like they are anchored into the ground, that they're anchored deep into the ground. The idea being, you can't just pluck them out and move them. They're not like any other building that you can demolish and get up, but they're fixed constructions that are very difficult, are very tough in their construction. Also, irsa was used for pegging, to peg something into the ground. This word actually will come up again in the surah. This is an interesting correlation of terms from beginning to end. Here Allah says, مَتَاعًا لَكُمْ وَلِأَنْعَامِكُمْ. So after speaking a little bit about the earth, a little bit about the sky, then a little about the earth, and at the end of it Allah says, all of this, مَتَاعًا لَكُمْ. This is provisions for you to use. Mata'. Tamattu' actually means to use and enjoy. But mata' alone is just to use. In the ancient Arabic, mata' was used, for example, for the scrub that you use to wash your dishes with. It's not something you enjoy, but it's definitely something you use, right? So dunya has been defined here as something to use, but not necessarily to enjoy. And that's the word is highly appropriate, because the real problem of the one who denies akhirah is they're too addicted to enjoying dunya. Allah wants you to use dunya, but not necessarily to indulge yourself in its enjoyment. There's a higher purpose for which you were created. مَتَاعًا لَكُمْ وَلِأَنْعَامِكُمْ. Provisions for you, these things to use for yourselves, these produce to use for yourselves, and also for your cattle. فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ الطَّامَّةُ الْكُبْرَى. Then finally when ja'at, first of all, those of you that speak a little bit of Arabic, atat and ja'at both mean came, but one of them has more severity. Ja'a is more severe than ata. Ja'a is used for larger, bigger things, and ata is easy arrival. Ja'a is grand arrival. So this is grand already because of the use of the word ja'a. Idha means all of a sudden here. Then when all of a sudden, what comes? What makes this grand entrance all of a sudden? At-tammatul kubra. Tamma is a calamity that is so full and so overwhelming from every direction, there's no escape from it. It's an overwhelming calamity, completely full of trouble any direction you turn to. So when this Tammatul Kubra, the ultimate, the greatest, most complete calamity all of a sudden arrives, makes its grand entrance, then on that day, يَوْمَ يَتَذَكَّرُ الْإِنسَانُ مَا سَعَى. What's interesting here are a few words. First thing, يَتَذَكَّر. We said there's idgham, right? You can use abbreviated words like yadhakkar, yawma yadhakkaru al-insan, but Allah says yawma yatadhakkaru al-insan, which means he will remember thoroughly everything. He will stop at every last memory and reflect, man, I messed up here, I messed up here, I messed up here. The complete recollection of everything you did is captured in the word yatadhakkar, the day on which the human being will thoroughly remember.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. If you enjoyed this video, please do share it with friends and family. If you want to see more videos from this series, click on the box at the top. If you want to see other videos, click on the box at the bottom. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thanks.